So, Kaci McBride, I'm SOCi's Senior Director of Market Strategy and Insights. If I haven't met you, welcome. I'm so excited to be presenting today with my counterpart, Kelly Settino. Kelly, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet anybody who I haven't met yet. Customer advocacy manager right now. I was focusing on social a little bit more in my past role, and I've recently moved roles a little bit, still focusing on social and still, doing these industry updates with Casey here.
Can you guys see my screen okay? I have three screens, so there's like a lot of options when I go to share, and Lord knows I've screwed it up. Awesome. All right, so today we're going to run through a little bit of a vibe check of your social media tactics. If you guys joined us last month, we had a really awesome session with a ton of detail that Melissa Telsero from Hyper kind of walked us through. And what we really wanted to do was take from that and dive a bit deeper into like how do we make this actionable? How do we send you guys away with a checklist when you're thinking about your local social media strategies? And so we're gonna hop through three kind of core subjects here. We're gonna talk about the media mix, talk about your audience a bit, and the different things that you need to check off and consider. We're going to run through some great best practices and kind of per post optimization strategies. And then, if you are not familiar with facts, you're about to be familiar with it today. Facts is essentially Soci's framework for how you should optimize everything. And so, we're going to talk about how facts applies to your social strategy and the check boxes that you got to hit as you're going through. So first and foremost, let's get into your media mix and the type of audiences that you need to consider when you're looking at posting to your social channels. There's really three core folks that we're talking about here. You have your non-followers. They're the ones that really focus in on discovery, making sure that you're building that awareness. When you try to measure how you're getting picked up by these folks, you're really looking at reach, right? Like who are you reaching, who you're getting kind of outside of your followers. Things that tend to stick with this type of audience are usually like a UGC, things that are like trending on social media. This is where you're trying to get picked up by, the things that are really popular, showing up on the For You page, things like that.
One
Really,
thing I'd
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Kelly.
sorry, Casey. I was say one thing I'd add to that too is I know we have UGC here as user generated content, but something that's becoming huge right now is employee generated content. So I
Mhm.
would say that fits into this bucket as well. A lot of brands are focusing on employee advocacy programs, which are doing really well. I think I saw a stat yesterday on LinkedIn about 40% of posts that have employee advocacy members in it convert or something like that. We can look that up to be specific and send it out afterwards, but definitely something to consider if you're not right now utilizing your employees in that way.
Well, and it makes sense. I think people really crave right now this authenticity in everything that they're consuming when, you know, so much we're retaining so much media right now, right? And like there's so many
Right.
different things out there and giving like a human side to brands and feeling authentic and feeling like, "Oh, I know this local coffee shop. I know this person who works there. I see this manager every time I go in." Like it really brings that kind of like really just authenticity to what you're posting and kind of who you are. So I agree. I think getting your actual employees involved is excellent here. Um, your followers. So these are the folks that follow you, the ones that are already aware of your brand. They've chosen to follow you for whatever reason, and you are continuing when you're posting to try and build trust with these people and show them the type of value and things that you bring. Here, oftentimes, content that does well are like tutorials, behind the scenes looks, employee content, day in the life, things that kind of they're already following and engaged with your brands, things that like really pick up that engagement and make them fans and kind of turn them into those advocates. So, advocates is the third. Those are the folks that are like sharing things on your behalf, that are wanting to kind of promote their fans, they want to convert with you. And that's why kind of measuring those, you often will look at, leads and conversions. Are they, following your links? Are they DMing you if you're posting certain things? And now we'll kind of pivot and get into what those posts actually look like. Does anyone have questions before we kind of dig in a bit more here? Cool. So this is an example of what I was talking about around like non-followers, something kind of funny, like leading with humor, getting that attention grab. Um, And so trying to make like a specific hook that creates interest, show that authenticity, read it as human, it's more likely to get shared or picked up. Um, and then this is something we're going to talk quite a bit about is making sure that your captions carry what people actually type or are actually searching for. We'll get into this, but it's kind of making that shift in your posts to thinking of social media as a search platform now. So you got to make sure that your captions and all of the things that you're like, even your text overlays, things like that, like, are they relevant to what people are actually kind of finding and discovering or looking up? Um, Now, when we're talking about your followers, we have a lot of notes around kind of like showing the process, not necessarily the promotion. Promotional posts just, they're not really they're not the attention grab that I think maybe they used to be once upon a time in this space. Kind of leading with a very basic in this example here, like $89 brake inspection, like okay, but then having a more creative take on it, giving that human element to it, showing what the brake inspection looks like. It's kind of a better way to promote what you guys are trying to get after, what the business is trying to say, can kind of help pick up that engagement and that attention to the post, maybe get more folks interested in what you're showing. And then this last one, when we talk about kind of advocates and making the path to conversion a bit easier, trusting that like the people who follow you are wanting to, you know, go to your business, frequent your business, their fans, whatnot. Having very timely type of posts or things that they can like convert and easily do. So in this example, it was like reply golf and we'll hold a spot bay for you. Well, prompting that golf DM, you can set up like certain workflows using different programs where then maybe it asks for your email, it can email then the customer. Like you can kind of work through actual conversion type flows through this so that you fill up your business in that way. And that kind of content is typically appreciated by, again, your advocates and those people who are fans of your brand. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to get into some of the exact best practices here. Um, and we'll go from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So since we set the scene a bit on media mix, we wanted to go into best practices. And like we keep saying, social is now a visibility channel, not just a brand channel. So people are searching on social with real intent. And our job as marketers is to understand the question they're asking so that we can create content that answers it clearly. So traditionally, most content planning starts with a marketing calendar, like you can see on the left of the screen. So that might be something like spring promotion, holiday specials, back to school. And then from there, the team figures out what content fits into that campaign. And the challenge is that customers don't really wake up thinking about our campaign. They don't think, what is this retailer doing for back to school? They wake up with a question or a problem they need solved. Who is going to have size 7, the new Kobe's this year or something like that, thinking along the lines of, footwear for children. So instead of asking, what do we want to post this month? You might start by asking, what are our customers searching for? If you're an automotive brand, maybe people are asking how they should know that their brakes need replacing. That's something that I would probably ask. And if you're in home services, you might wonder whether you need something replaced or something repaired. And those real customer questions become your content strategy. And what's important is that your promotions don't necessarily disappear, they just become less obvious. They're part of the answer, they're not just your whole message or your whole post. And that shift makes your content really significantly more useful and more discoverable as well.
100%. And that discovery is a really good point, Kelly. We are noticing more and more. We've even with our own studies that we'll be publishing very soon, see such a high percentage of folks indexing and using social media as search engine and discovery. So you have to make sure that the content that you're promoting or whatever you're messaging, it's kind of like SEO for social. You are now optimizing for how people are searching, what they are saying. And you're going to get picked up in discovery the same way as really you would in kind of like a traditional search engine. So it's kind of like a new way to think about it.
And you're perfectly setting up the next slide.
Yup.
So once you've identified the right topic, every post should be optimized intentionally, to Casey's point. So The first element is your opening hook. You only have a second or two to capture attention. So the first frame should immediately communicate a specific problem or an outcome. And then your caption. So captions are indexed. You should use natural language that mirrors how someone might actually search. The location tag is also important, particularly for multi-location businesses, because it helps businesses connect to a specific local entity. And going back to the captions on the video, those subtitles are actually really important because a lot of people scroll with their sound off. So that helps both accessibility and also engagement while ensuring your messages still gets across. I know whenever I'm scrolling at night, when my son's sleeping or something and I'm trying to be quiet, I have the sound off and I'm still on TikTok with the sound off because nowadays there's enough text overlay that I can still figure out what the message is. So putting all this together really helps make your content much easier for both people and the platforms like LLMs and search to actually understand what you're trying to get across.
100%.
And not all platform performs equally. So definitely take this with a grain of salt. Every single brand and piece of content is different, but across both Facebook and Instagram, typically short form video delivers the greatest opportunity for discoverability because platforms are actively recommending it beyond your existing followers. So what we mean by that is if you are not following a brand, you might still see their reels because reels and videos are shown to people who don't follow you. So that's why videos are a very good opportunity to reach new audiences.
Mhm.
Instagram carousels, so when you post several photos or videos within one post, those also perform particularly well because they encourage people to spend more time with the content. You can save it, you can share certain frames. It just gives more opportunity to actually engage and resonate with that content.
And
And single
Instagram recently updated carousels. Now, this is natively on Instagram today, but you can actually change some of the captions per each photo now as you scroll through, which in my mind definitely helps boost some of that engagement, right?
Mhm.
Because the other thing that tends to happen, I'm sure everyone here has noticed it, is maybe a brand or somebody you follow posts a carousel. Maybe you scroll past, you miss the first one, it doesn't really catch your attention. When you close the app and reopen the app, oftentimes the next photo in the carousel will actually get resurfaced to your For You page. So, kind of having that uniqueness per photo can be really, really helpful in recapturing that attention on a post.
Totally. And I love what you said about the captions, individual captions helping with engagement because it tells a different story per image or per video, and you can potentially get someone's interest three slides down that you didn't have on the first slide. So it just gives more opportunity for more, resonation opportunities and authenticity. Where what single photos. So single images, they still have value, especially for showcasing products or reinforcing your brand, but they generally don't create the same reach as like a video or reels would. And stories are great for engaging people who already follow you. Like we were saying a few slides back, that those stories definitely fit in that follower bucket already because they are temporary. So they contribute to less long-term discoverability. So takeaway here is just you should choose the format based on the objective of the content, like we were saying before. So going into captions a little bit more because they really are important. They've become a little bit of an afterthought, but I think they should be one of the more valuable pieces of the post. A strong caption starts a conversation rather than ending one. So instead of making a statement, you want to ask a question that invites people to respond. And then when possible, you can personalize the message by reinforcing the local community or city. Use emojis sparingly. I think it definitely adds personality if it does fit within your brand guidelines, but you don't want to add too many and go overboard. But most importantly, you want to be descriptive rather than saying something generic like, it's a beautiful day today, because no one really wants to engage with that. And you're not really saying what your brand is or what you guys are standing for. So you want to explain what's happening using the language your audience would naturally use. And remember that you're writing for both people and search systems. So, like in the example here, instead of saying it's a beautiful day, I have this weekend is calling for perfect temperatures in a specific city. Who's ready for the pool? Let us know your opinion on the best time to start a pool day. So that's therefore saying what city it's in. It feels authentic, it feels local. You're inviting people to actually respond and engage with you.
Love it. Now we're going to talk a little bit about facts. So facts framework is SOCi's take on EEAT. If any of you are, I'm sure we're all marketers in the room, we've probably heard the phrase EEAT. I know that if you work even closely to SEO, you're probably very familiar with that phrase. But as we move into an ecosystem that is no longer about siloed search, social channels, and it's really blended and they interact with each other, and the behaviors are now similar on both of these platforms. SOCi has kind of taken EEAT and turned it into this FACTS model. So FACTS stands for freshness, authority, consistency, trust, and semantic relevance. We're going to hit on each of these letters, what they mean, and then what they mean for social specifically, and kind of how you can apply that to your overall strategy. So freshness. Sorry, Kelly, I'll take the first. We'll toggle back and forth. Unless you had
Did you
something.
want me? Yeah, I
I
could take this one.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. Okay, so freshness. So it's really just about demonstrating that your business is active today, not 6 months ago. So search systems really favor businesses that consistently publish current information. So we're not saying you need to post every single day, but it does matter that you're maintaining a steady cadence. And for many organizations, a weekly publishing rhythm is really enough to signal activity. Obviously, you want to be more than that ideally, but just keeping, we'll say, the lights on at least once a week should at least help signal that activity. So another thing I always say is if you're not investing heavily in every single social platform yet, so if you don't have a Threads account, an X account, a TikTok account, that's okay. But I would still recommend creating. I should say if you don't have a strategy on those accounts yet, that's okay. But I would recommend at least creating the profiles in, doing an occasional post there or having it filled out with your business information so that it still is indexable because that type of activity is a signal.
100%. And they're really good citation sources in general. So actually, our Sochi's LVI study found that I think it was Facebook was the fourth most cited website for LLM traffic. And that was at the local level. So a lot of the searches that we conducted and business discoverability that we ran with our LVI study really honed in on finding, X brand, X local business, like in a specific area. And Facebook was the fourth most cited. So at a minimum, you gotta kind of, to Kelly's point, think about at least claiming these profiles and getting these set up for your locations with accurate information. And this is even going to become more important when we get to C, which is like consistency and kind of finding those sources across the web. But first, we'll go to A, which stands for authority. So it's not just EEAT, that's what the A stood for in EEAT, but it is also key visibility in LLM searches. Authority is very important to kind of help you rank for the things that you're supposed to be kind of relevant for. Authority is all about making sure that when somebody is discovering you and your business, particularly on social, that you have enough kind of ammo and material and content that supports that you are an authority in the space. So again, things like this would be using a video to kind of prove a certain process, not just the results. So kind of showing, how the sausage is made, and kind of how your process and your brand and the things that you do that can kind of help build your expertise and your authority on a specific topic that you want to be discovered for, that you want to be known for. This is a really great place for kind of that behind the scenes type of content. It can be really engaging on social, but then it also is a factor that helps kind of prove that you should be known for whatever it is that you're kind of showing that behind the scenes footage of.
Yeah, behind the scenes works so well on social. I worked with a carpet cleaning company a few years ago, and they had a whole category, a whole pillar for oddly satisfying because people love to see the before and after of the dirty carpet and then the clean carpet,
Oh my God.
which I, yeah, I think we all love that, like oddly satisfying content. Obviously, that's a little bit of an extreme example of behind the scenes, but I do think almost every industry could benefit from some level of behind the scenes because people are like nosy at the end of the day and they want to see what's going on and it is entertaining. So it's not only good from a, strategic authority perspective, but also from an engagement perspective as well.
Absolutely. Go ahead,
So
Kelly.
C, yeah, so C is for consistency. That extends beyond just your content. It's really your business information. So this is something that I don't think a lot of social media professionals think about, but your hours, location information, phone number, branding, all of that should match everywhere your business appears online. So it does matter that your Instagram profiles, your Facebook profiles, all of that actually have your business information in it somewhere. So you should think of your social profiles as an extension of your digital business listings. And when information aligns across platforms, it's easier for search systems to confidently understand who you are, where you operate, what you're doing. So again, it's one of those things where that consistency doesn't only just help the scraping and the indexing, but it also helps customers know exactly who you are, what you do, and where you're located, and how to get in touch with you.
And just to add on to that too, it really, really helps with LLM discoverability. ChatGPT, Claude, these platforms are sticklers for if they are trying to validate for a consumer who's like, where's the best place? I see we have Kona Ice on here. Where's the best place to get, Italian ice near me or wherever you are based in the country. I've heard it called Italian ice. I've heard it called water ice, whatever, right? Um, you know, and LLMs are scraping and they notice that, okay, well, she lives in the Pittsburgh area and this location might have the hours listed as, 9 to 5 here, but I'm seeing on the Facebook page it's not listed, or I'm seeing it incorrectly listed somewhere else on the web, or I don't really know, I'm not very confident. It's just not going to include it at all. It's going to completely eliminate you because it can't validate across multiple sources. Trust. So trust is essentially like a risk assessment. It's kind of like the gatekeep to even getting, verified at all or getting shown at all when folks are searching for you, both on social, search, LLMs, wherever they might be. Um, and it's kind of comes down to how you're filtered. So, like, if somebody is on Instagram, for example, and is like best restaurant in downtown Pittsburgh, if there are not a lot of engaging comments or people sharing or reviews or things that kind of help reinforce that you are quote unquote the best, or content that can kind of help reinforce that, you're not going to appear. You're not going to get chosen. And so a lot of this is on social specifically, doing things that really build up that engagement, that build up that trust, get people talking about you, get people interested in your brands as your locations, get you seen as kind of the best and the trusted, so that you can start to appear in those searches and in those types of lists.
So S, our last one here, stands for semantic relevance. So this goes beyond keywords. Instead of asking, did I use the right phrase? This is where you might ask, did I answer the user's actual need, which is what we talked about a little bit ago. So a theme throughout this entire webinar has been that the best performing content reflects the customer's real experience. So it acknowledges the situations they're in, it answers the question they're asking, it provides meaningful context. So when users recognize themselves in your content, they're much more likely to engage with it. And search systems are better able to understand exactly when your content should be surfaced.
And I think another thing that supports semantic relevance is the fact that people are no longer just searching one or two word phrases, especially in social media too. Conversational search is here. It's people expect to be able to just rattle off like, best car for a mom of two, two boys, really messy. I'm going all over the place. I like to drive to the Jersey Shore, blah, 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 like full details. People are searching in these different platforms. And semantic relevance is basically saying, like, are you answering all of these questions? Do you have, the type of content that supports those very specific niche, nuancy things that can help you get discovered by me, a mom of two with two very messy boys who drives across the state quite a bit. So
Going to the Jersey Shore.
going to the Jersey Shore.
Cool. So to wrap us up here, we wanted to show you an example that brings everything together. So this isn't an elaborate production. It's one timely, authentic post. It's fresh because it responds to something happening today. It builds authority by showing real employees doing real work. It reinforces consistency through accurate local information. It creates trust by inviting conversation and encouraging responses. And lastly, it is semantically relevant because it's connected to a real event happening within that local community. So the takeaway would be that instead of creating more content, you want to be thinking about creating content that's more useful, authentic, and just generally more aligned with how people search and how people discover information today.
Absolutely. So that was a whole lot of information. And now what? Well, what is you should have now shared with you in your email inbox our SOCi checklist of everything that we just talked through.
Yeah,
We have
Casey, I just hit share. So everyone who RSVP'd should be getting that in their inbox now. If you guys want
awesome.
to check quickly, but it should be getting to you guys like now if it's not already there.
I will go
Yep, I
ahead
just got
and
it.
give you guys a preview of what it looks like too. So we essentially turn this presentation into a checklist to kind of help you go through anytime that you're creating a post, to think about these different things. Do you kind of know what audience? Do you have a good mix in your content that you're planning? Are you speaking to humans and their customer phrases and their words that they're looking for? Are you considering the different types of content that perform well in these channels? Do you have the right kind of anatomy? Are your captions looking good? And then do they hit on facts? Does it cover kind of the type of things that you need to consider to get discovered?
Well, thank you so much, Kelly and Casey. And thanks everyone for joining. Stay tuned for our next one. But I hope everyone has a good rest of their week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.